This one's for my The Bible Makes No Mistakes friends. The problem is, even Jesus apparently struggled with history class too. Welcome back to Pesky Passages, where your favorite doctrines face serious challenges and we learn to ask better questions along the way. When someone misquotes the Bible, we usually push back. But what happens if it's Jesus who gets it wrong? Mark 2:25 and 26 read, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need of food? He entered the house of God when Abiathar was high priest, and ate the bread of the presence, which it is not lawful for any but the priests to eat, and he gave some to his companions." The story Jesus references there is from 1 Samuel 21, and the high priest in this story isn't Abiathar, it's Ahimelech. Abiathar only shows up after Saul slaughters the priests, and he's remembered mostly later for political drama under David and Solomon. So calling him high priest during David's visit isn't just a technical error. It rewrites who was alive, in power, and present. And if you are the type that believes that these are the actual, literal words of God, that raises a bigger problem. Either Jesus got it wrong, or the words that the author of Mark put into Jesus' mouth are wrong. And apparently that tension wasn't lost on early Christians and later gospel writers. Because when the authors of Matthew and Luke tell that exact same story in their respective gospels, they correct the mistake by quietly omitting the priest's name completely. For people taught that the Bible is flawless, a singular event like this can not only be confusing, it can be uncomfortably disorienting. Because when even Jesus misremembers a story, it's not just a name that's in question. It's the foundation you were told never to question. And if your theology depends on historical perfection to prove divine authority, this verse quickly becomes a liability. Cue the apologetics gymnastics. But maybe the problem isn't with the Bible itself. Maybe it's the expectations we've placed on it. Some foundations just weren't meant to hold that kind of weight. At some point, we have to stop being afraid to adapt our definitions of inspired and inerrant into something deeper and more beautiful. Or, for the sake of the cracking foundation, we have to simply admit that they're not working and throw them out entirely. As always, you don't have to agree with me. But when you're confronted with new information, you do have to wrestle with it. I'd love to hear how you answer these questions. If this really was a mistake, how do you reconcile that with a belief in biblical inerrancy? Do a handful of errors unravel the whole thing? Or just challenge us in how we've been taught to read it? What kind of hermeneutic allows you to take the Bible seriously without needing it to be flawless? Could understanding how the Bible was written, compiled, and edited help us read it more wisely today? You don't have to pretend that the cracks aren't there. You just have to ask whether your faith is strong enough to survive without covering them up. If it can, that's the kind of faith that can exist while holding contradiction. And in my opinion, that's worth holding on to.